Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me by my side as always. Fun show today so far.
So far, so good, man.
But we are not done.
We're not done. It's time to talk about what's going down in Provo.
BYU football, Alex, the big question. Starting quarterback, who's it going to be? We had some development this week, which surprisingly came. I didn't think we were going to have development. I thought, we would kind of have radio silence and then boom, we'd know the starter.
Yeah.
Because if you look back, if you remember to last year's quarterback battle between Jake Retzlaff and Gary Bohannon, there were reports coming out, but nobody ever said, oh, so-and-so's leading the pack. Oh, so-and-so looks like they have a leg up. There were weeks where it was like, okay, Jake Retzlaff looks like he's playing better. And then I remember week 2, it was like, oh, Gary Bohannon actually looks like he's probably going to be the starter. And then by week 3, it was like, no, it's Retzlaff again.
Yeah.
But that's not how it is this year. We actually got an update from BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. Let's just say a 3-man race is now a 2-man race. This is what A-Rod had to say.
Bear took the majority today, and McKay got some as well. As I mentioned Saturday, we can't keep going equal reps with 3 guys anymore. So, each day you're going to see right now McKay and Bear getting the majority of the reps with the 1s and the 2s, and that's where we're at right now.
So there you go. Can't keep splitting reps 3 ways. You just can't.
Which I agree.
I totally agree.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. So the 2 guys still in the race are Bear Bachmeyer and McKay Hillstead, by the way. And that clip was from, I want to say Wednesday. And then there were reports that came out Thursday saying that Bear Bachmeyer took a majority of those first team reps.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So not only is it down to a 2-man race, but now you have
a 2-man race that's being funneled into a 1-man race.
And it is unfortunate that the media doesn't have access to every practice.
Yeah.
Okay, but that was the practice that media had access to. We don't know what was going on in the other practices. We don't know who took more reps on other days or if they were split evenly. But for whatever reason, during that practice that day, Bear Bachmeyer got a majority of the first team reps. Do you think that's something to look into?
Absolutely. Because it's not the first and only time that this has kind of happened, right? It seems like a lot of the times during these media observation periods during BYU's fall camp and the processes that they've been going through this fall camp, they've put an emphasis on showing the media Bear. It seems like everybody and every time that we've talked to somebody who's gone down to fall camp and has been a part of that media observation, has been watching, what's been going on, they put an emphasis on showing Bear snaps and Bear plays.
Great point.
And, why would you tout a true freshman that much to the media and to the observation, right?
Yeah.
And that's what stood out to me since day one is the fact that they've been putting an emphasis on this is Bear Bachmeyer.
I'm so glad you bring that up, actually. Now that you mention it and I think about it, looking back at the first practice of fall camp, they split reps evenly throughout the practice. But again, the media session that was able to be viewed, it was Bear Bachmeyer. Now, they did say, again, I want to emphasize, that was the first practice. Reps were split 3 ways throughout the day.
Yes.
But during the time that the media was there, it was Bear. Now you're getting reports that, again, it's Bear. I do think it's worth noting, Pete Nakos from On3 Sports,
right.
He reported that things are trending towards Bear. Will Snowden, he didn't report anything, but he was on with Hans yesterday. He said he thinks it's going to be Bear. So we have all signs pointing towards BYU starting a true freshman in Bear Bachmeyer. Thoughts?
I think I view it in 2 schools of thought, right? I think of it this in 2 ways. You look at it on one hand, in a positive hand, and I think it's a testament to Bear to come in right even after having to miss spring practice as a true freshman, right? Fresh out of high school. And this kid has come in and impressed the coaching staff, impressed his teammates, has learned the playbook, has adapted to the BYU culture. I think that's amazing. Plus, I think when you look at Bear compared to a Bourget, to a Hillstead, I've loved what I've seen from McKay Hillstead, but I think that from what I've been gathering and from what I've been hearing from the media observations is that this kid, Bear Bachmeier's ceiling is pretty high, and he has a high ceiling. I like that. Like I said, I think it's a big testament to Bear Bachmeier. But then you look at it on the other hand. It's a true freshman heading into Big 12 play.
Yeah.
And like we've mentioned before, Christian, we've heard this record be spun before. So I'm a little bit cautious. And I understand, BYU's fans' feelings too about being cautious about this move. I think a lot of people, from what I've seen online, what I've been able to gather online, is I think there's a lot of optimism too about Bear, similarly to the way that I'm feeling. But there also is caution of, hey, this is a true freshman heading into now Big 12 play.
It's so funny how similar it is to Utah last year.
Yeah.
Because, again, Utah was supposed to come in and run the Big 12 last year. And obviously Cam Rising was the starter, but the news came out that Isaac Wilson won the backup job in camp. And we came on air and we were like, why would you have a true freshman be your backup when you had a guy like Brandon Rose who had been there? And this is a very similar situation. And maybe it's a little different if Bear Bachmeier is head and shoulders better than Bourget and Hillstead. And maybe that's what we have going on, because it sounds like he basically ran away with it. If we're going to assume that all this reporting is true and we're going to assume that Bear Bachmeier is going to be a starter, it sounds like it wasn't really close. Mm-hmm. So those are assumptions that I'm making, and I will willingly admit that those are just assumptions. We don't know. But it sounds like Bear Bachmeier is that much better. So that alleviates a little bit of the worry, but you're right, Alex. At the end of the day, it is a true freshman, and that matters, whether you want to admit it or not. And I'm saying you as a theoretical BYU fan listening, it matters.
It does.
And not only does it matter because they haven't played a snap of live college football play ever in their life, much less against the Big 12, it matters for other reasons, optics reasons. Like, what happens if you are 1-2 throughout those first 3 games? What if you beat Portland State, lose to Stanford, and lose to East Carolina, and you're going into Big 12 play, and you're like, guys, we cannot stand to lose any of these, upcoming games. Then you've got to bench the true freshman and go to the guy that lost the starting job to the true freshman, whose confidence is destroyed because he lost the starting job to the true freshman, and then you've got a mess on your hands.
And I think, hypothetically, if we get to that point, hypothetically, you're in the same boat Utah was last season.
Exactly.
Because that, in hindsight, now looking back at it, it turned into a mess. And, you had Brandon Rose's confidence was shot. Isaac Wilson's confidence was shot. And then it just turns into a mess of who's starting this week. And
we'll never know I don't want to treat Isaac Wilson like his career's over. I do think the best thing for him this year was to take a redshirt year and just take a step back for a little bit and mentally rehab, I guess you could call it, from the beating that he had to take last year. That is so tough.
Yeah.
And I truly hope that he can still salvage the potential that he has, because he could be a really good player. That's why Utah brought him in. And that's the hard part about giving a true freshman significant playing time, especially at the quarterback position. If it goes wrong, it goes really, really, really wrong.
We saw it.
And it hurt Utah last year, who was supposed to compete for the Big 12 title.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt BYU this year if that happens. If they are supposed to compete for the Big 12 title with this roster that they have, with all the greatness that they brought back, and they didn't lose any assistant coaches, all of that weight is resting on the shoulders of a true freshman. And if it goes wrong, like, oh man, I can't imagine the disaster. I mean, we saw how disaster it was for Utah. I can't imagine the disaster it'd be for BYU. But again, that's all hypothetical. That's all what if. There is still a chance. Again, if Bear Bogmeyer is head and shoulders better than any other quarterback on that roster, if he came in and outright won the starting job because of how well he played in camp, then maybe there's not as much to worry about. Maybe this kid is a baller. Maybe he's going to come in and feed Chase Roberts, and Roberts is going to have 1,100 yards, and LJ Martin is going to have a very productive year, and BYU's offense is better than average in the Big 12. I mean, there's a chance of that happening too.
And I think that's one of the positives that BYU fans can kind of hold their hat on a little bit with potentially starting this true freshman in Bear Bogmeyer, is the fact that you have a very, very good supporting cast.
Yeah.
And if you can get even similarly to any type of production that Jake Retzloff had last season, then you'll be in a good spot from Bear Bogmeyer.
Yeah.
And, I remember there was conversations that we had where, especially early in the season, where we were talking about good Jake and bad Jake, and there was moments where Jake Retzloff came in and did some good things, but
that
there was
SMU game.
Yeah, there was also games like that SMU game where he didn't look up to par and he didn't look up to the job, and there was questions about Retzloff early in the season. If Bear Bogmeyer can come in and have any type of that similar production, you have the supporting cast to continue to be good this season.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it's going to fall on the shoulders of LJ Martin. If LJ Martin can come in and be an 1,000-yard rusher, you'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, you got a good running back in Martin. Again, Chase Roberts. Carson Ryan apparently has been playing really well. So maybe the tight end position is utilized more for BYU this year than we've seen in recent years.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. The supporting cast is there, and I think that's something that BYU, I mean, again, with the Utah comparison, that's something BYU has better than Utah did last year. Utah's supporting cast was not great last year. The receiver room wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be. Mekhi Bernard was the only thing that worked on that offense. And even with a great offensive line, nobody else could really run the ball. And nobody else could do anything in the passing game. So
I think the reality was that last season, Utah ended up being a fractured team.
Yeah.
Right? We learned quickly that the running back room probably wasn't as great as we thought it was going to be for whatever reason. Like you mentioned, the wide receiver room didn't turn out to be as great as we thought it was going to be for whatever reason. But I don't see that necessarily happening with BYU. I feel like we saw these guys last year come together as a brotherhood and do what nobody expected them to do. We thought they were going to be barely bowl eligible, but they proved everybody wrong and ended up winning 11 games.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that happening with BYU.
You've got the whole aspect, too, of Cam Rising and how much that hurt the team.
Yeah.
And you're talking about fracturing the locker room and how hard mentally that was on everybody because he was out the entire year, the year before, and then he was supposed to be back, and then he's out again, and just how much that hurt. That's not something BYU's dealing with. They don't have the metaphorical Cam Rising in the locker room. Also, you've got more stability at the coordinator position, right? Going into last year, people thought Andy Ludwig was a good coordinator, but I don't know. Roderick, I think even before last year, people would say that Roderick was the better coordinator. But I think that all in all, the supporting cast for Bear Bogmeyer or whoever is going to be starting at BYU is good.
Yes.
Or great.
Yes. And like I said, I think that's something that BYU fans can hang their hat on and continue to see this team in a positive light and continue to kind of hold that BYU in a positive light, because I still think that supporting cast can be extremely good for you. And you'll be able to have a good season if that supporting cast continues to be as great as we saw them be last season.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I guess we'll see how the kid slings it against Portland State. If he is named the outright starter next week, Do you think that we're going to see 2 quarterbacks against Portland State? Do you think there's any chance that that Hillstead gets in? Or
I mean, if you're up the score, maybe. Right? If we're talking about a 49-0 halftime scoreline, then sure, why not? But I think it also would be beneficial to keep him in for the entire game to just...
You got to get reps.
Get those reps, exactly. Get those reps, get those nerves out, and set yourself up to be in a good position going into Stanford, right? The way we've talked about it before, the way the schedule has worked out for BYU has worked out really, really well, considering the quarterback situation that they're in, because you give yourself time and you give yourself a couple of weeks to really figure out what and who that quarterback is going to be. If I think Bear Bachmeier can come in and get some good wins under his belt, and potentially lead you to some good wins at the start of the season. But if it doesn't work out that way, you have that chance and you have that bye week 3, to figure things out.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting storyline because no matter when the quarterback is named, that does not put this storyline to bed. There's always going to be the other guy looking over the shoulder.
We're going to be watching the BYU quarterback position all season long.
As soon as Bear Bachmeier struggles, or as soon as McKay Hillstead struggles, the question's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
When's the other guy going to see the field?
And I feel like for us, watching it all unfold, we're going to be comparing it a lot to the situation we saw last season.
Yeah.
Right? And the second things, tend to steer in that direction, we're going to have those questions.
And interestingly enough, Gary Bohannon barely saw the field last year.
Yeah.
I don't remember who he got in against, but he did not play that much. I do remember, though, there were times where BYU fans were calling for Bohannon, but BYU stuck it out. They kept Jake Ratzlaff in, and ultimately they ended up with 11 wins. So it worked out. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting comparison between the two seasons, and it's a wild time it's a wild time for BYU.
Wild time, but a fun time. I'm excited to see what again, if Bear Bachmeier is named the starting quarterback, I'm excited to see what he's able to bring to the table. I'm excited to see, what he can do with his team and the supporting cast, and how far he can get this BYU team, man.
Yeah. It's fun now. Hopefully they don't crash and burn.
Hopefully it stays fun.
Yeah. Utah was not fun last year. No. By the end of the year, we were pleading for the season to come to a close.
I think even the coaching staff and the players were about ready to just wrap the season up.
So I guess BYU has one more media availability next week, and it's Monday. And so I guess we'll see if there's a starting quarterback announcement. I would assume, because this is like their last week of quote-unquote camp, and then the next week you turn to game prep for Portland State. So I would assume that we are going to get an official announcement sometime next week. I don't know when, but stay tuned. It'll be here.
Can't wait, man.
Can't wait.
The football season's here.
We're excited, man.
Oh, man.
All right, we got to take a break. Coming up next, we will hit 5 minutes of Stick With Us. It's the Saturday Show 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome back to the Saturday Show 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me. Fun show today. We talked Utah. We talked the Jazz schedule. We talked BYU. Now it's time for 5 minutes of this time of the year. I like to go a little NFL because preseason is, undergoing. There are a lot of storylines to keep up with, and this, I feel like, is a great spot in the show to talk about the NFL. So I want to hit it, especially because I missed last week. Thank you, by the way, for covering for me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Really appreciate that. I was sad that I didn't get to talk about Shedeur Sanders last week. So I want to do that today.
Let's do it.
All right. The Browns last week played their first preseason game. They played the Panthers, Alex. Cleveland won 30-10. The big whoop here is that, of course, Shedeur Sanders gets the start. He plays a majority of the first half. I can't remember if he played into the second half at all. I think he might have.
He played a little bit.
But the thing is he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And I know that the Carolina Panthers are not world beaters. I know that they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. But Shedeur Sanders definitely did not look like a fifth-round quarterback. Yes. I will say that.
Well, it didn't get off to the best of starts.
No, he started bad.
Yes.
That is important to point out.
It didn't get off to the best of starts. Struggled in that first quarter, but then really turned it around, and it didn't look half bad, man. Didn't look half bad, and I think I will say there was a lot of overreaction, right? From national guys, from
Probably
people,
myself,
from people talking about this. A lot of overreaction about Shedeur and his play. It's one game into the preseason. Like you said, the Carolina Panthers aren't world beaters. It's the preseason. Let's pump the brakes a bit. I'm not ready to crown Shedeur as a starting quarterback yet.
No, but I could see the potential. Maybe. There were some things that would worry me from a starting quarterback. He still did the thing where he likes to run around a lot. And the thing that stood out to me when he did that is he is slow.
Yes.
He was already like average speed in college. He does not have NFL speed, so he cannot run around in the pocket. He even took some bad sacks. So that was important. But there were some throws, man, where, and it's not like Patrick Mahomes' rookie year where he had the biggest arm we've ever seen and he was just doing absurd things. It's not like that, but it's like, intermediate level passes, layering the ball, putting it where it needs to be on the spot, letting your receivers get yards after the catch because of where you place it. Little things like that I really liked. He had a tight throw into a window for a touchdown that I really liked. He stepped up into the pocket and put a little juice behind it. And he doesn't have a strong arm, but he put enough to get it into a tight spot. I liked that, okay? But the saga continues because he's out tonight. They play the Eagles.
What is happening in the Browns quarterback room?
So,
man?
They already were down Dylan Gabriel.
Yep.
And
Kenny Pickett.
Little Hands Pickett. And Joe Flacco's 45,000 years old.
Yes.
So they don't want to play him in the preseason. So they went and signed Tyler Huntley, right? Shedeur Sanders hurt his shoulder a couple weeks ago before he played this game. Came back on track, played. Apparently this week he hurt his oblique. He has a minor oblique strain, so he's going to miss tonight's game against the Eagles. So I don't know. I saw a lot of people complaining about that, and I just think it's funny. They're basically knocking Shedeur for being hurt, and it's like you're gonna knock Shedeur for being hurt, but you're not gonna knock Dylan Gabriel or Kenny Pickett,
right?
So I think that's a little funny.
And that's not even the conversation we should be having, right? It's the conversation. Injuries happen,
yeah,
right. But the fact that Pickett, Gabriel, and Shedeur are all injured, are all hurt,
yeah,
and you had to go and sign Huntley and have technically 6 quarterbacks in that room. That is a bigger issue.
Yeah, like you said, what is going on?
What is happening, man? That should be the conversation. It shouldn't be any knock on Shedeur. It shouldn't be any knock on, the quarterbacks. It should be, what are the Browns doing to their quarterbacks, man?
So I would imagine, obviously, that's good for Tyler Huntley, continuing to showcase himself. And this is what he did last year. He was actually with the Browns last training camp, played during the preseason. When Tua went down in Miami, he got an opportunity there. So at this point in Tyler Huntley's career, that's what he needs to do. I'm not sure if we're going to see Dylan Gabriel tonight. I'm not sure if we're going to see, Kenny Pickett. I don't know. I doubt Tyler Huntley's going to be the only quarterback that suits up. I don't know what they're going to do.
They're going to it's interesting because if Huntley goes down and you have to turn to Flacco, who's, projected to be your starting quarterback in the regular season, that's a big concern.
I am clicking around. It sounds like Dylan Gabriel might be back.
That's not too bad then.
But still.
I would like to see a Gabriel debut.
Well, yeah. We've got to see what he looks like after Shedeur last week. Shedeur definitely showed that he could push for the starting job. I'm not saying that he is the starter hands down, but he showed that he has potential.
Right.
And if Dylan Gabriel comes out and flops, that's not good. But that's why you draft 2 guys in the middle of the draft. You make them fight for the spot. So my guess is at the end of the day, they let go of Pickett. I think he's the odd man out. I would I think they would be smart to keep Flacco and then the 2 rookies.
But
and then
he's the
go
most
Pickett.
experience.
Well, Flacco is.
Out of the 3.
Yeah, but when it comes to Kenny Pickett experience, what does that matter?
I guess.
I mean, he started for the Steelers for a little bit and then was the backup at the Eagles. Like, that doesn't really scream anything to me.
No, when it comes to Pickett, it was concerning that Tanner McKee came in and played 1,000 times better than Pickett when Hurts went out. And when Hurts went down last season. And so...
And Tanner McKee had a huge weekend last week as well.
He absolutely did. And so...
Yeah, Pickett's not good.
I think I'm right there with you. Pickett seems like the odd man out. It seems like it would be a very Brown thing to have 2 rookie quarterbacks backing up Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think they put themselves in a bad spot.
Regardless.
By getting Pickett.
Yeah.
They put themselves in a worse spot by taking 2 of the more controversial rookies in this draft. So, yeah, it's just bad decisions stacking on top of each other. Let's also talk Jordan Love.
Yes.
Because this worries me a little bit. Jordan Love tore a ligament in his left thumb, so his non-throwing hand. He had surgery on it early in the week. He is expected to be back by week 1. And I say that, cool if he is back by week 1, but you're missing all of camp, essentially, or 3/4 of camp.
Right.
That's not good.
It's not good, but I think it is a positive. It is a positive sign that it's your non-throwing hand.
I mean, it's not worst case scenario.
It's far from worst case scenario, but it is concerning due to the fact that this is a big year for Jordan Love.
This is a huge year.
I think Jordan Love, as good as he is, has a lot of questions to answer this season for the Packers and for himself.
Yeah.
And for quite frankly, us. I think that he's done a lot of great with Green Bay, and I think that he's done, last season being in a very competitive NFC North where, you have 2 teams who win 14 games or whatever, however many it was from the Vikings and the Lions. Can he take that next step? Can the Packers take that next step and be the team and be one of the better teams in the, even better than that in the NFC North, right? Obviously the Lions is going to be a massive test, but we talked about it a couple weeks ago, Christian. I think that there's a spot open where Minnesota is going to drop, and
potentially
can the Packers move up into that spot? And then when it comes to crunch time, when it comes to playoff time, can they finally get over that hump and answer the bell during the playoffs? I know that they were moments away from beating the 49ers and making a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but. That we're 2 years removed from that now, and so it's time for Jordan Love to take that next step and see if he can lead this team to a Super Bowl.
Well, and the thing is too, like his first year as the starting quarterback started off bad.
Yeah.
But then around mid-season he really turned it on, and like you mentioned, they make a pretty good playoff run, and they were like a play away from beating the 49ers, who went on to go to the Super Bowl and represent the NFC, right?
A missed field goal away, man.
Yeah, it was a missed field goal and then a bad interception when, Jordan Love was trying to force things.
Right.
Anyways, so you have a half season of really good play from Jordan Love. He comes back, and last year, game 1 against the Eagles in Brazil, hurts his knee and is out a couple of weeks. And then when he comes back, of course, that is something that he's dealing with all year. So you're still yet to see, and by the way, his numbers and his performance reflected that. They dropped off significantly from when he was at his peak, his first year as a starter. So you're really talking about a player in Jordan Love where we are still yet to see a full 17-game season of his peak level of play. And he's in his prime as an athlete as far as talking about his age. He's only, 26, I think?
Yes.
So he should be entering, that prime of when he's playing his best football. But we haven't been able to see it due to, his first year as a starter, he's getting comfortable and all that. And then an injury that bugs him all last year. And now he has this injury in his left thumb that, again, thank goodness it's not his throwing hand. But, I don't know. Hopefully he can still perform. I would hate to go through another year of I wish or like hypothetical with
Right.
Jordan Love. I just want him to go out and do it.
Just for reference, that first year he was a starter, 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Ooh.
You compare that to last season where he goes 3,389 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions.
So almost 1,000 yards less.
Almost 1,000 yards less.
Like
almost
8 touchdowns less.
Yeah, almost 10 touchdowns less. And then you have
but the interceptions stay the
same amount of interceptions.
And that's in less games played, too. Because
Right. He only played
time.
15 last
Did he only
season.
miss 2 games?
He only missed 2 games.
Wow.
Only played 15 last season.
Well, we'll see what J Love and the Packers look like. I of course, I love for our local players to go out and represent. So I truly am rooting for Jordan Love. I know they drafted Golden in the first round. I've seen a lot of good things coming out from camp about him. So hopefully he can do good.
I think if anybody can come back and turn it around, Jordan Love has the tools and the skill set to do it. But a lot of question marks around Jordan Love this season.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. Coming up next, we will wrap this baby up. It is the Saturday Show. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome into the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me. Alex, we said it earlier during the show. Today feels like basically like our last day of summer.
It really does, man. It really does. It's that time of the year where you get the NFL back, you get college football back, you got kids going back to school. It's a whole mix of a bunch of things that just kind of feels like the summer is over and you're turning the leaf to a new season. You're literally turning the leaf to fall.
Next Saturday will be week 0 of college football.
I cannot wait.
And I literally have the same feeling in my gut of when I used to wake up like on the first day of school or like going to bed, I guess, on like the last day of summer. It's like, oh man, that was such a fun summer. Now it's about to get crazy. But I'm positive about it is the thing.
Yes.
Like I'm so excited for both BYU and Utah. And then, of course, you got to throw Utah State in as well because all 3 of them have had such big storylines this year. So it's going to be a great season, and I can't wait to kick things off here in 2 weeks. Of course, next week, week 0, we're going to be dialed in. So
absolutely looking forward to it, man. And then week 0, none of the local teams play, but you still have a Farmageddon in Ireland that I'm super pumped about.
That'll be fun to check out.
It's going to be a big game, man. It's if you're, you got nothing going on next week, and I'm sure we'll talk about it next week too, but there is Farmageddon happening. It's a big Big 12 game to start off the season, and so I think a lot of eyes nationally will be on that game, and I think if you're, a follower of the Big 12, if you're a follower of Utah and BYU, you might want to tune in and pay attention because it's a big one early for the Big 12.
Not to get too far ahead of things, because we do have a lot of fun left on the station here today. Coming up later, 4:30, you're going to have the RSL pre-match show before they kick off at Charlotte at 5:30. That's on 97.5. Then on 1280, you're going to have the Bees at Sugarland at 6. Love the Space Cowboys as a mascot. I think that is so absurd. Such a crazy name. But let's talk RSL, Alex, because in that loss versus New York the other day, pretty controversial in the 2-1 loss. I saw on my Twitter even like national MLS people, not Real Salt Lake fans, national MLS reporters and fans tweeting about how bad the officiating was against the New York Red Bulls.
It was tough to watch. I feel like even, just watching the game, it was a very, how do I word this? It was a poor officiated game.
So was it just like refs missing calls or refs giving ticky-tack fouls?
Refs giving ticky-tack fouls that led to frustrations. Frustrations boiled over into what the league calls violent conduct. That led to a red card for the New York Red Bulls. But in that same play, Diego Luna got sent off too because he got shown a second yellow. But it was interesting.
And 2 yellows equals a red.
2 yellows equals a red, yes. But it was interesting because the assistant official, the one that's standing on the sideline with his flag, he initially pointed the foul in favor of Real Salt Lake, as in Luna got taken down. But
Real Salt Lake would get a free kick or whatever.
Right. But the center official came over and didn't even confer with his assistant, didn't have any conversations. He made the decision to show Luna a second yellow.
He overruled it
Without consulting, without talking about it. And so I think that's why it was so controversial, and I think that's why it had a lot of people up in arms, because I don't think that, I don't think that it was the right call. I think, going back and looking at the play again, you got the violent conduct on Kyle Duncan, so the foul is obviously committed on Luna. Mm-hmm. But because of the way the rules are set up, you can't overturn a second yellow. So by then the damage is done, and Luna has to, leave the field.
It's tough. Officiating is always a tough thing to talk about. It's always a tough line to draw. I officiated while I was in college. Obviously, it's not the same level. Okay, I was doing 4-year-old flag football and
but you learn a lot.
Middle school basketball.
Yeah.
But it's tough because you've got to make the call and stick to your guns while, no matter what call you make, half of the crowd or the stadium or whatever is going to be upset with you.
Yeah.
No matter what you do. And if you swallow your whistle, people are going to be upset. So, it's a very tough job.
You got to have thick skin, man.
There's also a reason that I was doing it for Cedar City Recreation on Saturday mornings,
right,
and not at the MLS level. These guys are getting paid to be some of the best officials in the world. The NBA refs get paid to be the best basketball officials in the world. Same thing with the NFL. And it seems like officiating has become more of a controversial subject in the past couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Nobody's happy with it.
Well, and I think this season it's been the conversations around officiating has been worse than it has been in past seasons. It's definitely taken up a different step, because it feels like week in and week out there's always something happening with an official.
Yeah.
There's always a call. There's always something, and I think MLS now is at a point where there's enough popularity on the league, where there's enough international eyes watching the league, where you have to sort out the officiating. Because if you're someone from Spain, someone from Portugal tuning in to watch a game, right? If you're tuning in for Messi or whatever, and the officiating is that poor, it's going to turn you away. And I think MLS needs to step in and figure out what they're going to do with the officiating before they lose those views.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially if you're trying to get into the sport and you see that the refs are bad.
100%.
You need to have a good product. And the last thing you want is to have a professional match or a game or whatever dictated by the refs
and that's
not by the
teams. That's always the worst, right?
Yeah.
That is always the worst. No matter what sport I'm watching, no matter what game I'm watching, no matter what it is, when an official makes a blatant bad call that changes the outcome of the game, it irks me, man. It gets my blood boiling.
You are not alone. You're preaching the choir there. Speaking of RSL, again, you can watch them tonight at Charlotte. First kick is at 5:30. You can hear the pre-match show here on the Zone, the KSL Sports Zone. That is, at 4:30.
Yep.
Stay with us. We'll catch you next week. It's the Saturday show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.